next story. We move, and India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri addressed the concerns about the country's oil imports and its relationship with Russia. He emphasized that India is not dependent on any single source for energy and does not intend to be. Misri explained that as a developing economy, India imports about 80 to 85% of its oil and gas, and it is essential to manage energy costs to avoid inflation. He pointed out that the country's energy import policy is driven by the goal of providing secure, reliable and affordable energy for its consumers. Misri further highlighted that global energy markets face significant uncertainties which affect sourcing decisions. He added that India aims for a diversified energy mix, with oil companies making decisions based on market conditions, availability and risk assessments. Listen into a part of his statement.
Our approach is to maintain multiple sources of supply and diversify them as appropriate to ensure stability. Therefore, I would say that the more diversified we are in this area, the more secure we are. Insofar as actual sourcing of energy is concerned, again, all of you follow this closely, so you know that the actual sourcing is done by oil companies in the public sector, oil companies in the private sector. And they make decisions based on market conditions. They assess availability at any given point in time. They assess risks. They assess costs in this process. And obviously, all of these companies also have their own internal accountability related processes to look at, and certain fiduciary responsibilities in the market.
Major General Sardar G joins us once again to discuss this. What are your thoughts here from the statement that we've just heard? Do you think this might aggravate the Russians?
No, not really, because look at it from a different perspective. First and foremost, it is not 80 to 85%. The oil being imported from outside India as on today is approximately 87.7%. That is one. Number two, when you import such a large volume of oil and gas from outside the country, then obviously you cannot actually, focusing on one source. It has to be multiple sources. But given the fact that prior to 2022, before Russia invaded Ukraine, it has to be understood in clear terms that the percentage of oil import from Russia used to be just about 1.6 to 2.1%. But by and by, it started picking up, became 13% by middle of 2022. By early 2023, it had already crossed 24%. And by September 2024, it had reached a peak of 41%. And this 41% gradually, when US started putting pressure, that is with Donald Trump coming back to power 2.0, that India is buying oil from Russia, which is fueling the conflict in Ukraine, notwithstanding the fact that America is doing business. The business with America, between America and Russia, has gone up more than 25 to 30 times after Donald Trump assumed his 2.0 presidency. So they are buying uranium, they are buying multiple kinds of mineral earth, the rare earth elements, etc., etc. And European Union is also buying the gas, LNG. 37% of its requirement is still being bought from Russia, and so is other minerals and rare earth element. So therefore, India still, if we have to explain things, from 41% in September 2024, it has already come down to 31% in December 2025. And as we are talking, in the month of end of January 2026, the percentage has come down to 27%. Because I am not talking about defending the strategic autonomy. It is a matter of business. So where does it take me to? It takes me to 2 points. That US wanted us to not to buy oil from Iran. We stopped it. From 2007, the percentage of import from Iran by India used to be 17%, and by 2017 it had already come to zero. And come the year 2019, similar kind of embargo was imposed in India to buy oil from Venezuela. Venezuela being what it is, we stopped buying from Venezuela. Now we have taken a complete turnaround. Now they have put pressure that stop buying oil from Russia. India had gone to Russia at the behest of America so as to stabilize the international oil prices in the market. So, notwithstanding all this, even if Donald Trump is making it an ego issue, if India has to do it, India is already reducing the quantum of oil being bought from Russia and trying to shift its basis to diversifying towards America, towards Venezuela. There is no issue. The issue also has to be understood from another perspective, that whenever there is a business, it is not government to government. The government of India is not procuring or buying oil from source A, B, C. These are companies which are operating the oil rigs, and the companies in India are importing. That the Foreign Secretary has actually gone an extra mile to explain the finer aspects, which I really admire and appreciate. That's the way to go. Hope the American advisors and the people and the leadership, they are understanding the complexity through which India has to navigate, because it is not the government of India which has to take a decision. It is the company which has to take a decision whether to import or not, driven by multiple invisible factors, and so as to meet the aspiration and the requirement of 1.45 billion people of India. If this is what is not understood by Donald Trump, well, any amount of discussion will fall flat in your channel, because he is not going to understand, his advisors will not understand. India is prepared, India is amenable. Strategic autonomy is a different issue. It is a matter of requirement of the
Yes.
1.45 billion people of India. This has to actually get into his head. Only then that he will keep quiet.
Major General Satakaji, thank you so much for taking the time in joining us here on NewsX World.